Turn me up louder. This is bullshit.
Hey, how about the dude with the skirt? We need to get him up here in the pink shirt. Look at that.
Sir, with the kilt. Yes, you, the tactical skirt. We're about to have a panel to see what it's like to own a comic shop in the year 2023. Are you interested in learning?
No, I am.
Well, then you know what it's like. Then you can ask good questions.
No, you can't.
All lies and fibs.
Oh my God.
Come on, you can take my place.
You know, we could just stand up here and let me roast people all
You
day.
should do it.
Yeah.
You should just do it.
Oh no, we're live.
Okay. Welcome, everybody, to CowTown Comic Con. This is year 2023. What is this, like the 5th CowTown or something like that? It is number 5. I was right. I have been joined by two very interesting gentlemen. Julian James, at least that's his OnlyFans names. And we have Brian Durrett.
Yeah, good enough.
Durrett?
Direct.
Durrett.
There's speculation.
There's a microphone right there. Yeah, speculate on
It
that.
is direct, right?
It is now.
Don't start singing.
Don't worry.
Yeah, you're going to have to do better with the mic.
You know, put
Is
it up
this-
there.
Is this better?
Yeah, put
next
it
to
in your mouth.
Put it in your mouth.
You're gonna have to show me, Julian. You're gonna have to teach me about that.
Well, Chris is not here. He could.
If you
Why do
guys
need
are new
Chris
to my
here teach
panels,
me about that.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell these guys how it works. This is Gabe's Cave on YouTube. So please go subscribe to go see this. We also give away things every week. And if you like Comic-Cons and this kind of stuff, you will enjoy this YouTube channel. These two gentlemen have joined us on this stage because they are going to elaborate on what it is like to be a comic shop owner, a brick and mortar store in the year 2023. All right? And we're going to get right into it. I'm going to ask simple questions, and then I'm going to turn it over to like the 3 people that look like they may ask something in the audience, and we're going to let them ask their questions. Okay? So first question, I'm going to ask Mr. Julian here. What's it like trying to get kids to read comic books these days? Because, you know, I kind of know what it's like to have a physical store as well. And ours, it seems like manga is the new big thing. Like, kids are reading manga these days where, you know, we used to read comic books. What's it like trying to get kids to read comic books?
Well, that's a problem. I don't read comic books.
Turn him up.
I just want to apologize to all the Gabe's Cave subscribers that are watching this because it's probably going to be the worst interview they've done, and not because of them, but because of us. But just get that out of the way.
This isn't an interview. This is a panel. Get that shit
the
right.
panel. Okay. See, it's already gone to hell. So
So, kids reading comic books.
Can I ask a question? Look, stop. Just, you're thinking too hard. Listen, you sell comic books in this store, right? I mean, it is a comic book store.
Yes, we do.
What would you say makes up the majority of your sales? Is it comic books?
it does, but it's mostly 40 and up. I don't know, some late 20s. It's odd.
Yeah.
A lot of the comic book readers are
Your age.
older, not my age. That's I'm like a golden age or whatever, I think. But a lot of the folks that purchase, you don't see many kids come in. And if they do, they're coming in with their parents, and they're buying because their parents collect the books.
And they're introducing them.
Is that sustainable? If people, I'm 38, so if people my age and older is the generation that's reading comic books, is that sustainable?
We hope so.
Yeah, if not, we need to change our business model.
Yeah.
No, to your point though, it's and what Brian said, it's parents introducing their kids to comic books. Hey, I used to read these when I was a kid. So we are seeing some of that, but it's still, to Brian's point, it's that 40-year-old older person. So
the big 3, okay, Marvel, Image, DC. Do you feel like the quality of comic that I was getting even in the 90s from Marvel is the same quality of comic the kids are going to get today? And if it's not, then what is there to have parents like myself encourage their kids to go pick up a modern age Spider-Man story and read it? Oh yeah, I'm asking hard questions.
Yeah, he's getting deep here, Brian.
I think that not to bag on Marvel or any of the big name companies, but they're writing for the characters, and it's that is what it is. But I think most of the stories that you see that are more compelling are your independents, your small guys that's what that's how they draw an audience, is to write a good story or to have good art. And I think you see more of that from the smaller guys. Certainly Marvel, DC, Image, they can, the art's there and they get the quality writers, but it's more of a factory type thing. And so I think, the guys that are really putting out the great stories nowadays are some of the smaller publishers, because it's not factory produced. It's something that the people that are producing it have a passion for.
The viewers that are watching this, or that will go back and watch this, because I believe this is live, but it's also being recorded, they know that I just set him up. Because they know that's the exact kind of answer that I'm looking for, because that's true. If we are going to encourage the younger generation, based off of my age, to read comics, to get into comics, we've got to step out of the big three and we have to explore. Because quality writing, quality storytelling, it's happening in the indie world. And more independent books are being picked up, they're being optioned, they are being sought after, because even the industry people in Hollywood are realizing that the quality storytelling is coming from independent writers. So I don't believe comics is dying. I believe that the heartbeat that kept them going for so long is struggling. The three main guys, they don't know what is going to make people happy anymore.
Yeah, it's a change of the guard for sure.
Anytime you have a large corporation, they're generally, they drive the industry in certain ways, but you don't see the innovation. You don't see the cutting edge stuff. They're going to rely on the tried and true, and they're also because of the size of those companies, they're not as quick to react to the market, and so you'll see a lot of really popular indie books, art styles, things like that come out, and as those people pick those things up, and then you'll see that kind of transition to the bigger companies. But they're not in any industry, comics or anything. The big companies are. There's just it's hard to be flexible. It's hard to react to the market instantly. If you've got Dunkin' Donuts, if they introduce a new donut flavor, it takes them how many weeks, months to determine that, okay, this is not going to fly. Versus a mom and pop shop, they can try it for a couple of weeks, and if they're going to get feedback instantly from their customers, and they can cut that product out if it's not going to work. And that's kind of like I say, it's just a part of being a large company. There's economies of scale and diseconomies of scale, and that's, I think, part of the reason that you see that is because they tend to be more reactionary. And plus, when you're talking about the money invested, they've got to kind of stick with the tried and true and let the other smaller groups prove concept, so to speak.
That's some good quality answering right there. That's some quality answers. I have some. You guys, as a store, you also offer exclusive covers. So you go out and you find artists and you get artists to do exclusive covers. Sometimes you share those covers with other businesses. Is that something that more comic shops should be looking into? If they're not seeing, in case you guys, I'm sure you guys have heard because you own a store, but across the nation, comic sales are down 33%. That's being, in my opinion, that's being light on what the sales are probably down. Is that something that a store should be looking into to maybe drive those people back into their business and to go look?
I think there's a lot of different ways you can do that. It's not just on the exclusive side of the market too, it's really understanding, to your point, where we are economically, right? So it's how you price structure, it's the incentives you give back. It's really understanding, to Brian's point, when it comes to books with independents and the three big guys, it's really understanding your market, right? But also, to your point too, is yes, it's good to have those partners, those people that you can go in and, because you're cross-marketing then. So I think there's a huge benefit there too, and we've done some of that ourselves too as well. So
well, the thing with exclusives too is that's a completely different marketing method, and honestly, our store sucks at it. I mean, we're not real good at we get some great covers by some great artists.
We aren't
but
great at it either.
We don't sell them. I think the problem is, so years ago, I worked in a wholesale store, different industry, and we had a customer complain about the price of something or just commenting about the price, and the store manager said, "We don't make no money, we just make friends." And so our store has kind of accepted that as our business model, and it's not a real good business model. That's kind of our corporate mission statement, actually. And it's just we gotta rethink that, I think. But two exclusives, there's a lot of money to be made there. They're the ones that are hot, and there's folks that are real good at it, and we'd like to get real good at it. We're not yet, but there are some folks here that could elaborate on that a lot better. Darren Hutchinson with Unknown, Nelson Chua with BTC. Those guys are phenomenal at that. We're real proud of the covers that we've done. We think we got some quality work on some good books, but that takes a different brand of marketing than what we're adept at right now. So it's certainly a possibility.
I think my main focus of the question is that something more comic shops should look into to try to get people to come in their store if they're suffering from sales being down 33%?
No.
It's a mixed bag. Like I say, if you've got a way to market it, depending on your outlets, then it can be beneficial, but it can be also a money sink. It's kind of a numbers game. You need some capital to do it because you got to produce those books, and then there's going to be a certain number of them that sell and sell well. Some folks, they'll do a print run of several thousand and sell out in minutes online. But others, they're misses, and so it's just like anything else. You have to have the capital to do enough of them so that your hits, over time you're gonna come out ahead, but you got to cover those misses with the hits. And I think that's the issue for us right now. We can't churn out enough of them to get that big market yet. So.
I think too, with going back to the independent market too, those guys they've catered to the smaller comic book shops, the up and coming shops, versus, to Brian's point, you have a large group like Unknown or BTC that has a very large following with customers. The indies have really kind of scaled that back and said, hey, you don't have to buy 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 print runs. The indies are opposite. There's like, hey, you can do 500, which I think is great too, to a degree, because you're really limiting the amount of print run on that book. So it's truly a collector's book and piece.
It can be a good idea. You just have to be aware of the risks that you're running and the capital outlay that it's going to take to do the exclusives, and you've got to be committed to make it work. It's with us, we do one when we can, when we see a project that we like, and we're not super concerned about sales on those. It's more of a something that we like, a passion for us as far as the book or the artist or the match of the book and the artist, and we hope we can sell it. But
it's almost like paid marketing, a break-even point. If we can break even, it's paid marketing, printed marketing.
Yeah.
So it's there's benefits to, like Brian said.
It can be a boost to a store, but you want to know you're not printing money when you do these exclusives. I think some folks, they see the success Darren and Nelson and some of these other folks that do exclusives, and they sell online. I don't know how much driving business into the stores. Now, obviously, everybody sells online, so your online business is going to pick up. But those guys have been at it a long time, and they put a lot of work in to get where they are. And it's easy to look at that and say, oh, my gosh, look at everything they've got. Look at all the people that are there at their booth picking up books. But, a lot of hard work went in to get them to that point. And that's what you've got to be committed to put in that time and develop that customer base for the exclusives.
And what's been good about those guys too, just the couple of guys Brian's thrown out there, is those guys have been with us at Pastime. They've been very cordial with us, teaching us that side of the business, very opening with it, sharing the knowledge that they have, which to Brian's point, it's took them years to get to that level, right? So, but those guys have given back. They're even giving back to some of the smaller shops like us, where they're really helping them, understand the exclusive market.
So along the same lines of ideas to help, get people more familiar with your name or to generate more income, is in-store signings, is seeking out an artist that people may be familiar with, or maybe an up-and-coming artist that people need to get to know. Is that a way that comic shops can somehow, put some more money in there to replenish the money that's not coming in from, the major titles being down?
It's very beneficial. We have tons, you guys have been at our shop, and, we've had several top artists in our shop, celebrities. It's very beneficial. Again, it goes back to how well you can market it, how far out in front ahead are you, if you're having a signing or something like that, are you marketing that far enough out? It's not last minute, oh, hey, next weekend, Sabine Rich is going to be here, right? It's things like that, you have to market those things further out, but it's very beneficial.
And you guys at Pastime actually sponsored her to be at this show. She is from Berlin, right?
Yep.
That's right, yeah.
So you guys are the reason why these people here on stateside and in Texas down here, you get to meet them. It's because of Pastimes, Comics and Collectibles, the team, right?
That's correct, yeah. We were trying to get her in for Fan Expo the year of COVID. We had the tickets purchased, we had everything set up, and she had done an exclusive cover of Mercy, Mirka Andolfo's book. She'd done an exclusive cover for us, and she'd done one of another of Mirka's books on Sacred. And so we had her coming into Fan Expo. We had the books ready to go. I don't remember if Mirka was going to be there or not as well. I think maybe so. So
yeah, I think they both were.
We're going to have an opportunity for double signatures. So we were ready to fly her in. She said, yeah, I'll come. And then COVID happened and shot those plans down. But we've got her here now. And by the way, we've still got the books. So if you guys want to go pick them up, we can get them signed. So
yeah, it's again, to Brian's point, everything's lined up perfectly, and bam, just something happens. That's one thing I will say about this industry. It's a risk reward. You try to control as much of that risk as you can. Sometimes you can't.
But back to your question, actually, of bringing folks in. Anything you can do, whether it's artists or celebrities, anything to draw folks into the store, just get familiar, because if you can get folks to come in, they'll usually come back. It's at least for our store, we get a lot of compliments on just the customer friendliness, and we try to get artists that are going to interact. Some folks are, kind of just machine-like. They sign and go and sign and go, and we try to find folks who are going to interact with the fans to kind of give them back something for them showing up. We've had good success with having folks in store, but it's all, that's one thing you can do. It's really, though, there's all kinds of different things you'll see in the store. There's comic books, but you got to be aware of the popular toys, Funko Pops, things like that. because different things will be hot at different times. I think right now we're with the economy, the inflation. This is something we haven't had for a while. We certainly haven't. We've only been open, seven years
total, yeah.
And so this is the first time we've had. We had COVID. We made it through that, but this is the first time we've seen folks with less discretionary income. And one thing that's really helped us is over the past, say, year and a half, we've been able to really build up our back issues. So, everybody has the new comics, and they're at a set price. But as far as back issues go, the market dictates that. And when people are selling collections, sometimes you can pick them up at a much more reasonable price than paying wholesale for a new book. And not everybody has the same books that you have as far as back issues. So that's really helped us. Our business is actually growing in this tough economy, so we're hoping that continues.
And that's wonderful, because a lot of businesses are not that fortunate. We were a little late getting started on this. I want to ask you guys a pretty important question, I guess, and more like I speak to the future. But if there was a 20-year-old that had just got out of college, got a business degree or something, and his father or mother or whatever were going to help him open a business, he's not going to have to worry about it. He can open a business, and he loves comics. Is it something that you would suggest to a young man?
I would say in the beginning, it's one, to open any business, whether it's a comic store or whatever you want to open, right? One, you have to be passionate about what you want to do in life. So you have to find that passion first. If you're not passionate about something, it's probably not going to be successful. So find the passion in it, one. Two is you've got to enjoy it every day, right? No matter if it's good, it's bad, it's ugly, it's pretty, you have to enjoy it every day. Can you make a living owning a comic store? I would say that probably the first few years is tough and rough. Probably not. You're going to be the guy that owns a business, and even with us, we all have full-time jobs outside of Pastime. So it's about that first, Brian, what would you say, 5 to 7 years of just growth to get to kind of where we're at, where we're starting to see those numbers
I don't know. It may be 10, 15. I think that's the track we're on. I think that if you're gonna do that you need to be prepared to get into the exclusive game. The comic shops, unless you have a lot of back issues, it's tough to make it just on new comics.
Yep.
So it's all about inventory, having quality inventory, and then a comic shop alone. I guess it depends on your goals. If you're looking to get rich, that's probably not going to happen. But if you look to it, with an eye on, okay, I'm going to open a shop, and then there's all types of segments of the business that are kind of offshoots of just actually selling the books. You guys have a comic shop, but you do this. I think there's some artists that you guys have some relationships with, rep some artists. You guys do some exclusives. And so it's just the comic shop itself. It's tough. But when you take all the add-on and auxiliary things, again, exclusives, there's a couple of guys here at the show today that have made a ton of money and very lucrative. So
fantastic.
You got to have a plan.
Fantastic stuff. Yeah, you can't complain about when you walk by their stuff and you see their exclusive covers. It's just they are all fantastic.
Yeah, Brian's dead on. It's about adding those ancillaries.
And you got to have a plan. You got to treat it like a business. If you treat it like a hobby, which is kind of what we've done, you're gonna struggle to show profit. But you can bump along and at least cover your expenses until you can kind of figure it out. It's going to be a lot better. To your point, you're talking about a guy with a business degree. If you're treating it like a business, you stand, I would say, just as good a chance of success as any other business.
That's awesome. Guys out here that have been sitting out here listening to us talk, do any of you guys have a question on what it's like to own a comic shop in 2023? This gentleman's question for all you guys out there watching was, do you see a digital media taking effect over the printed comics? Do you see that becoming more of how people are going as the digital? I don't own not one single digital comic. I don't.
I think it's more, I think it's shop driven, right? Shop driven. With our shops, we really support our local artists. There's some big name artists here today, and then there's some artists that are, coming into the business, and we support all of those. And we've kind of took a stance at our shop. That's really who we focus on, is to promote those up and coming artists. And we basically, that's the product. We promote and sell their products, in store if they allow us to. So
I would say that probably the digital business, the folks that read and enjoy comics, that may be their the way that they consume the media, but they're still going to buy the paper comics. I mean, they're collectibles, and if you're into comics, that you're probably into collecting, and so it makes sense to do both, because if you have the digital copies, then you're not handling the paper copies. You're preserving the collectible part of it. So I think that it may be that more and more folks, as far as reading the book or consuming the information there, the story, would probably go to digital. But I think at that same time, they're going to be buying the paper issue copies as well, from the collectible standpoint.
And I think even with the economy we're in right now, we've seen an uptick. We were looking at our customer growth year over year. Me and Brian were talking about this about a week ago. And just year over year growth in our store has been from new customers. And I think a lot of that is because a lot of people that used to spend their money, on other things are finding ways to get into the shop now. One, it's how you target the customers. It's how, understanding the economy we're in, how to price things accordingly, things like that. And to Brian's point, building up those back issues, right? When someone can walk in and that's never bought a comic and you're able to offer them, 4 comics for $1, things like that, to be able to make those adjustments. Or, being engaged in your community. We're very heavily engaged in our community here in Haltom City. We do a lot of things with the schools and the school districts and things like that. So I think being able to give back to your community too is very big for that, because it's customers. It's, to your point, Uncle Nasty, you're bringing in what's the future? When that 40-year-old or older, when we all go away, how do we keep this industry going? And I think you have to target and market that way. So we really enjoy it. We have Kids Day every year at our store, where we bring in kids from, I think this year McLean McGuire's son was kind of like our key artist in store. He wrote his first book this year, The Thinker, produced it. I think he had a total of 5-6 covers, Brian?
Something like that. They've got con exclusives out there at the desk of that book. Yeah.
So I mean, doing things like that, that's how you're gonna continue to keep this industry going. Is you have to reach to those levels, and understand that is the future. So.
Yeah. But I think digital is just another way to get folks to buy the paper copies. Mm-hmm. You see, that's. The movies are real popular, but you see so many folks come in because the movies got popular, and they are now interested in, okay, what are some of these backstories? And it's very, one of the reasons it's kind of difficult to be extremely profitable is just the low cost. Like Julian said, we can some of the back issues will sell, 4 for $1 when we're running specials. And I mean, obviously the collectible covers and the key issues are more expensive, but still, if you look at the cost of going to a movie or something like that, it's you can buy quite a few back issues for the cost of a movie and popcorn nowadays. So we do see some folks that are trying to introduce their kids for that. It's entertainment, and also in some instances is a way to get kids to read something.
And even to the movie, to your point, Brian, we've partnered with some movie theaters in our local area, and we do movie night where we'll go out and we'll actually set up in the movie theater for a new Marvel or a DC movie, and we're able to present comic books related to that movie, and it's another way to capture the crowd. And wow, I didn't realize it. I mean, when we first started Pastime, I'll never forget, me and Chris were sitting at Trader's Village here in Dallas. And at that time we started.
Which is a flea market.
It is a flea market. We were sitting at the Trader's Village, 190 degrees it felt like. And I look over and I'm sweating, and Chris is over here sitting in front of the fan Brian got us set up out there. And he's reading this comic book. And I'm like, what the hell are you reading? He's like, I'm reading a comic book. I had no idea comic books were even still around. And I'm like, comic book? What do you mean a comic book? They still make those things? He looked at me like I was stupid. I had no idea. So
that's not why he was looking at you like you were stupid.
But I think it's really bringing.
Hey everyone, don't forget, coming up at 12 o'clock over on the Games Cave stage is our first panel with artist Peter Smith talking 100 years of Disney.
Well, it's not the first panel.
You said we were doing a panel.
3 o'clock today. You can sign up for that out in the lobby. And
He just liked talking on the mic.
those of you that enjoy this, beer and wine sales do begin at noon right up front at the concession stands.
And thank you, O wise, benevolent voice from the suspended ceiling. We could not have done this without you. Yeah. Yeah, that was a fun yeah. Yeah. So, all those things are awesome ideas. We do some of those as well. Watauga, Texas. Watauga. I'm from South Arkansas, dude. It's Watauga, okay? Watauga, Texas. What is the physical store's address?
6120 6120 Watauga Road, Watauga, Texas. Suite B.
And you guys have a .com as well.
Yes, we do. It's pastimecomics.com or pastimecc.com.
And there has been some fantastic independent books that are directly attached to Pastime Comics, Charter Comics. You guys have got to go to that .com and check them out. And if you are ever anywhere in the area near Watauga, Texas,
there you go.
please stop by and see these guys. Tell them Uncle Nasty and Gabe's Cave sent you. And if they don't give you a discount, send me a DM.
Thank you, Uncle Nasty.
Yeah, man.
You're
Thank
gonna
you
be
guys.
Appreciate it, man. Yeah. Appreciate it, bud. Yeah. That's some good information. Yeah. Give these people what they want.